Let me tell you something, Charlie, okay? I was just on a road trip recently in Scotland, and it was in a rural part of Scotland. And let me tell you something. This is controversial. Okay, first off, it is insane. This is an insane idea, which is the single lane roads, which are somehow two-way roads, and you can drive 60 miles an hour on them. Okay?
Ridiculous.
Absolutely insane idea. Because they're all windy roads and you can't see too far in front of you. So you're just going along at 60 miles an hour, and then you see another car, so you have to pull into a ditch and get out of the way.
Yeah.
And who decides who pulls into the ditch? It's hard to know. It usually seems to be who's the bigger bitch, which is kind of the scenario. There some people, it seems like there's logic to it. It's like whoever's closer to the passing place, which is like where the lane's a little bigger so that people can get past. Then you're supposed to go into the ditch. That's kind of logical. That makes sense. This is an insane idea, but I honestly kind of liked it. I had fun. So I've seen a lot of Instagram reels of people complaining about this. And like Americans talking about, oh my God, Scotland, they have these single lane roads. They're a bunch of idiots. And I kind of like driving on them because, driving 60 miles an hour on these roads, if you just know what the fuck you're doing, you're going to be fine. So
yeah, fair enough. You're saying it's a skill issue. You're saying American drivers.
I think genuinely it is a skill issue because I felt completely fine with it. And I like the fact that the roads here, they give you the speed limit, which is, it's 60, and they don't change it every time you get to a corner. They do that in the U.S. It's like you get to a corner, you can only go 30 around this corner. In Scotland, they're just like, okay, the speed limit's 60. When you get to that corner, you're going to have to be going slower. If you're in a nice enough car and you can take that corner at 60 miles an hour because it's got downforce or whatever the hell, or just fancy and it's got good tires or something like that, you can do that. All right? You don't have to slow down arbitrarily because the government wants to tell you how fast you're supposed to go around a corner. You can take that corner as fast as you want, as long as it's within the speed limit. And I think that is reasonable.
God bless Scotland.
What a great place.
It is a great place.
There's a fucking lot of potholes, though, in the Highlands, and that needs to be sorted out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles, along with me, as always, has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell Charles, excited for another episode of the podcast. We pitch new TV shows every single week. New episodes, new storylines, new characters, new worlds. Sometimes it's fantasy, sometimes it's sci-fi, sometimes it's other stuff. But anyway, we package them all into these exciting little TV shows and movies, and you get to listen to it, and it's awesome. And this week, Charlie, it is your turn. I gave you a title, which was
Vino Vincenze. What is it? How do you say it?
Vino Vince, which means wine. It means wine wins in Italian. But I didn't tell you what it means before giving you the title, and so you revealed last week that you thought that meant Vino Vince. So I'm guessing you got Vino means wine. So I think we have a guy named Wine Vince.
Vino means wine. Yeah. Well, I thought it was another Disco Volante sort of situation where you were just like, because I know that means flying saucer in Italian, but I was like, it's a guy's name. So I thought you were just giving me like a character name, and I had to build a show around that. So Vino Vince is an enforcer for the Malbec mafia, who's forced to reevaluate his life working in organized crime as he is introduced to his long lost son, Rosso Vincent. Rosso means red in Italian.
Oh, look at you. You could look that up, but you couldn't look up what Vince means.
Yeah. I didn't think Vince. I thought it was Vince. I didn't know that it was a word. I thought it was a name. But Vino Vince is a burly, rough-and-tumble man in his late 40s who's worked as a loyal leg breaker and enforcer for the last 30-ish years. He is, I was casting him in my mind as like Russell Crowe in The Nice Guys meets Tony Soprano, Like that's sort of like he's got a full head of hair, he looks like he keeps in shape, but he likes beer. Well, he doesn't like beer actually, he only drinks wine.
He better.
Hence the name.
Yeah.
And he works for the Malbec Mafia, which is, well,
wine. Yeah, we know what Malbec is.
It's a kind of wine. No, I was just going to say it's a story about Italians, and as we all know, Italians are criminals, so it has to be about organized crime.
Okay.
It's a joke, people. Not all Italians are criminals. Some of them are babies. So opening montage of Vince doing his thing, right? Wakes up, gets out of bed, right? He lives in like a cool, I would say that this is this story is set in New York City in the like 80s, So he lives in a cool swingers pad, right? He gets up, he goes about his daily routine. He wakes up, he has a cup of coffee, smokes 3 cigarettes, back to back to back, brushes his teeth, takes a shower, all that stuff. He goes around the corner and he shakes down the local bakery for his breakfast, right? That's how Vince acquires most of the things that he has, is he's just kind of scary, and he bothers people until they give it to him. And then he takes a cab to the warehouse district, where he is he's given his assignments by his boss, and then we see this cabbie who's sort of like his best friend, kind of, drive him all over the city, and he's, taking money, getting money from people, he's disappearing rats, making them go sleep with the fishes, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's just doing his normal, enforcer shtick. And every night, he has a nightcap, right, of a large glass of red wine at a local dive bar, right? And everyone knows him, and everyone knows that Vince drinks vino, right, all the time. And so we see this cycle happen a few times, right, just over and over and over again. We see Vince, he's not unhappy, but he's unfulfilled. He feels like maybe there's more to life. And he's just like, he drinks, he smokes, he'll occasionally have sex with a random woman, right? He does his job and he enjoys his job, but he just feels like there's something missing. And we notice as we see this montage of him living his life over and over and over again, we'll notice that there's a young man who just keeps showing up. Like, he just keeps appearing at places that Vincent frequents. And at first Vince thought, whatever, it probably ain't nothing, right? And then after a week of this guy always being at the bar that Vincent goes to, and always being at the bakery that he goes to in the morning, after a week of this, he, starts to get suspicious, and he's talking with his buddies that he works with. And they're like, oh, he might be, a rival gang member. Maybe he's like, his parents are one of the people that we get protection money from. Maybe somebody's just looking like, fucking with you. And then after a month of being followed, Vince finally decides to confront this guy. Because he's like, he doesn't particularly enjoy violence. He doesn't like fighting, but he understands that he has to, especially because of what he does for a living. So he grabs this guy outside the bar. The guy's smoking a cigarette outside the bar. Vince walks out. This is after glass 4 or 5 of red wine. And when I say a large glass of red wine, I mean it's a glass that they've dumped an entire bottle into. Right?
Oh,
Vince
nice.
is a big guy.
It's not a wine glass. It's like a pint glass.
It's a pint glass they've dumped a bottle of wine into. It's a dive bar, after all. And so Vince gets out, and he's kind of slurring his words a little bit. His shirt's, untucked. He's obviously inebriated. And he starts talking to this guy who's just smoking a cigarette, and he's getting in his face. He's screaming at him. And before the guy can say anything, Vince swings on him, right? And there's this scuffle, right? It's not even a fight, really. It's just this, sort of clumsy, drunken brawl that ends with these 2 dudes on the ground, like they're both sitting on the stoop, right? And they're both out of breath, and they both got dirt in their faces, and their knuckles are bloodied up, and they're it's like after a fight, and they're just sitting there on the curb together, and the young man takes takes a pack of cigarettes out of his jacket, and he takes one out, and he offers it to Vince. And Vince takes one, and they laugh, and they start to bond a little bit over the fact that they smoke the same brand. And Vince's like, oh, I've always smoked Camels ever since I was 15. That's just my brand. That's what I like. And Vince finally, after they've calmed down a little bit, and Vince is sobered up a little bit, because getting punched in the fucking face will do that to you. He's like, all right, man, I have to ask, what's up? Who are you? What do you want with me? And he says, I think I might be your son. Oh. End of episode 1.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Vino beginning of episode 2, now they're sitting in a diner, right? And it's 3 a.m., and I imagine the Seinfeld diner. Like, just the Seinfeld diner. They're sitting in a diner. Vince has another glass of red wine. We know what that means. And they're talking. And this is where Vincent, which is the name of the young man, his son, breaks down his life and how he lived and how he came to be this sort of in this position. And Vincent's saying that he grew up with his twin sister, Blanc. So if you're keeping track, Vino Vince's 2 children are Rosso Vincent and I haven't thought of a V name for a girl, but
Valerie.
No, yeah, Valerie, Blanc Valerie, right? So Vino Vince's 2 kids are red and white, which I think is funny because I'm a fucking chode. But he grew up with his sister and his mom in the suburbs of Chicago, right? And they never really had a dad growing up, but they were happy. They didn't have too much money, but they weren't hungry or anything. And when they were 3, mom remarried to this insurance salesman. And it was kind of a loveless marriage, but it did mean that they both had a level of security, and it meant that the kids were taken care of. And so it wasn't that they were unhappy, it just wasn't like, oh my god, we're so in love, we have to, whatever. And so after he graduated from college, he got his degree in performing arts. And occasionally throughout this episode, because it is one big long flashback episode, occasionally we're going to cut to, like, modern day, right, to, like, Vince. And you kind of expect this dude who's big and he's burly, he's Italian, he's a criminal, he's alive in the 80s in New York, right? You expect him to kind of be like, you're a man, you got a performing arts degree, but he's a really proud dad. Like, I want Vince to be, like, a really super proud of his son. Like, you have a college degree? That's amazing! You're the first person in our family to ever get a college degree. And he, throughout the show, he takes on more and more paternal, like, I would say, attitudes. But that's besides the point. That's later on. So he got his degree, Vincent got his degree in performing arts, and he moved out to LA for a few years to try and make it as an actor. And not too long ago, it wasn't really happening for him. And then his mother passed very, very suddenly and very sadly. And so he went back home to go through her stuff with his sister. And when he was going through this stuff, he found this old photo of his mom and Vince when he was a much younger man, right? And they were like holding each other, and they're very obviously in some kind of a love. And on the back is written an address and a name, and that's it. And so Vince took that and ran with it. So he decided to come out here and see if he could find this guy, because he thinks he's his father. And so once he did find him, he was a bit nervous about talking to him, which is why he was like always following him around but never say anything. And Vince sees the picture and he looks at it, and it's he remembers Melina very fondly. And he's very sad that she passed. But he explains that, like, when she found out what he did for a living, like, how he made his money, we didn't work together. We loved each other, but we didn't work as a couple. And then Vince, is just chat with his son, like, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And Vincent lets slip that he doesn't have anywhere to sleep. Like, he's been living in a parked van down by the river for the last, like, month or so. And Vince is appalled that his son doesn't have a roof over his head, so he gets him to move in immediately. And that's the end of episode 2. Throughout the show, it's kind of an odd couple situation where we'll have Vinny, which is Rosso Vince's name that we'll use, and Vince living together, and they're trying to kind of more come to terms with each other and learn more about each other.
Yeah.
And they're making each other better, because Vince won't let Vinny smoke anymore. Even though that is literally the first thing they ever bonded over. Now that he knows he's his son, he won't let him smoke. He's like, I want to order a pizza. Do you want some, Dad? Or Vince? That sort of thing. And Vince will be like, we're not having pizza, all right? We're gonna have a salad, we're gonna have a glass of water, and we're gonna have a good night's sleep. That's what we're gonna have for dinner, okay? Like, he becomes such a, like,
Stickler.
almost overprotective parent, because he's just like, he's always wanted a kid, and he realized that this is the thing that was missing.
Now he's feeling like overprotective and getting out all of his parental instincts.
Yeah, and he's now like, I've got a daughter as well. I can't wait to meet her. Is she pretty? Is she nice? Like, what, you know, he's like embracing this idea of becoming a father, but Vinny is a little bit more suspicious of it. He's not as, because he's like, I've never known you, dude.
Yeah, now,
like I know
now it's just like some old guy telling him what to do.
Yeah, now it's just a 40-year-old man and a 20-year-old man who are roommates. You know? And then, so they lived together for a bit, and I wrote the next inciting incident of the show. And you and I need to figure out how it's going to end.
Okay.
Like, I know how it's going to end, but where it goes from here. So, after a fight between Vince and Vinny, Vinny storms out. He leaves. He's like, fuck you. You're not my dad. Like, you don't get to tell me what to do after not being in my life for 25 years, right? Whatever. And Vinny happens upon an assault in progress. There's an active, aggravated assault going on, and it's like 3 guys, and they're all beaten up on this one chick, right? And there's obviously some fucked up stuff that might have happened already, but might happen after, you know? And so Vinny, right, being his father's son, gets in right, you know, right before any real damage can happen, and Vinny beats the shit out of these 3 guys. Like, absolutely wrecks their day. Wired jaws and swollen eyes and broken hands, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And saves this girl and gets her on a bus and sends her home. And it's revealed that one of the guys that he really beat the shit out of is Vince's boss's son.
Oh.
Who is the heir to the Malbec Mafia.
Not and the Malbec Mafia. I can't believe that's their name.
Extension, I know, right? It's great. By extension, the, like, greater, you know, East Coast, drug trafficking rings or whatever, right? He's the next in line for the Malbec Mafia. And so now Vince has to kind of balance his loyalties between his job, right, that he's worked at for 30 years, right? And I do want him to have a sort of a camaraderie relationship with the other gangsters, you know? I do kind of want it to feel like in The Sopranos, whenever all the gangsters are just hanging out at, like, it's like a rec center or whatever, I don't know. Like, that sort of thing. So Vince will hang out with his, you know, friend. These are his friends. And he hangs out with these guys, he smokes cigars, and they're all drinking wine, they're having a good time, you know? So I do want there to be a question of loyalty from Vince, because he is now trying to hide his son and actively, like, derail any investigations done by the Malbec Mafia into who beat the shit out of the prince. So you know, Vince is actively trying to derail these investigations and maintain a relationship with his son and be good at what he does.
Yeah.
And the ending of the show that I had in mind was obviously Vince picks Vinny, right? Obviously, Vince, you know, loves his son, and they love each other. And the show ends with them both moving out to California, and hanging out with Blanc, the sister, who won't be in the rest of the show, but she could be a season 2 character. But I want to know what you think. What you think Vince should have to go up against? Any ideas?
Like, in terms of the Mafia?
Yeah, like, you know.
You want, like, a full John Wick scenario? What are you thinking here?
I was thinking maybe a little bit of a John Wick situation, maybe a bit more of a Tulsa King situation. You know Tulsa King?
I know that's like the Stallone show, but to be honest, I have no idea what happens in that.
I watched a good chunk of it in Instagram
clips on social media.
Reels.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I have not watched a TV show in so fucking long. It's about, like, Yeah. No, I watched
we make a show about pitching TV shows. You're not.
I know.
You're not gathering new material.
No, I watch a lot of movies. I started watching Stagecoach the other day. That was pretty good. But Tulsa King is about, like, Sylvester Stallone plays this guy who took a fall for some other dude, spent 20 years in prison for, like, the mob, and then he gets out and immediately is sent to Tulsa, which is basically, like, they just get rid of him, you know, they throw him to the curb, but, Sylvester Stallone is, like, the best at being a gangster or whatever. I'm thinking they come to a sort of understanding between there's an understanding between the boss of the Malbec Mafia and Vince that basically, like, they won't work together anymore, but they're gonna leave each other alone because it is about the sons, you know, it's about the next generation, right? But I do think that there should be a little bit of a John Wicking. Like, there should be an episode where they're like, oh, fuck, did we seriously just put a hit out on our most effective and dangerous enforcer that has worked for us for 30 years? That wasn't a good idea. We didn't think that one through. Yeah. This guy is a severe... That could be fun.
Like, they put the hit out, and then maybe you have, like, a comedic scene where, like, the hitmen are calling. They're like, hey, you accidentally put a hit out on Vino Vince or Vince, and it's like, surely this must have been, like, an accounting error or, like, a number thing. And they're like, wait, you want us to go kill Vince? Vince, the guy that, like, I don't know, shoved a fucking a
toaster inside a Dave last week? Holy shit! He taught most of us how to shoot.
He threw a pair of sunglasses through Bob's eye. I mean, like, what do you want us to do here?
Yeah, are you calling in the fucking military? What, are we getting the National Guard as backup? What do you mean?
Also, I do how much money were you thinking the hit should be?
Cool mill.
I think that people do that too much. It should be low, like 10K or something like that.
10 grand, yeah.
They're all in movies. They're always like, it's $1 million if you kill this guy. It's like, well, you know, let's be reasonable here. So let's make it like 10K, and maybe it goes up a little bit, but, like, don't make it ridiculous. They always like, oh, $10 million if you kill this guy. It's like, all you gotta do is shoot a guy. I mean, it's a dude.
Yeah, they're not that hard to shoot. Maybe it's like, it's 10 grand and this lovely 12-year-old Malbec wine that we've been saving up. I do like the idea that the mafiosos are just, they're secretly, they just want to run, like, a wine restaurant, but they've been in the mafia business for so long that the boss is like, I would love to just, like, talk to people about, like, what wines they should pair with what cuts of beef, but I have to, like, talk about, like, fucking heroin sales and stuff. I like that idea. But yeah, that's Vino Vince. Not my best show, but not my worst. That honor still goes to the Punk Rock Vampires.
I think the show was cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And, by the way, speaking of Punk Rock Vampires, if you want, in my humble opinion, a much better version of what Punk Rock Vampires was supposed to be, listen to our latest episode. What was the title again? No fear, no limits, no justice.
No rest,
what was it?
No rest, no sleep, no future.
Okay, yeah, that was close enough. Yeah, if you want to see something that's a little bit better than Punk Rock Vampires, listen to that one after listening to this episode of the Very Reasonable Pilots.
I don't think anyone who listened to Punk Rock Vampires still listens to the podcast, so I think we're okay in that respect.
Yeah, you might be right about that one. Don't podcast high, folks. It's a bad idea. You think it's going to be funny because you've seen, like, comedians be high and be funny, but then you remember halfway through, you're not a comedian. You're not even, like, you're not a professional anything. No one's interested in you if you're high. I'm not Snoop Dogg, man. I don't have that dog in me. I'm just talking.
I'm going to warn you now, Charlie. I've just added a new title to my list.
Oh, no.
Punk Rock Vampires Season 2 is now on my list.
I'd have to go back and listen. That would be hard.
Yeah, so
I don't want to do that.
If that happens, you could pick it at any time. I'm only going to keep it on the list for 3 weeks.
Ooh,
and then I'll take
dangerous.
it off. So you might not hit it. You can avoid it, Charlie. But you might hit it.
If I hit it today, that would be so funny.
Well, aren't I supposed to get a title today?
Yeah, you're going to get a title today. Give me 1 sec. I got to grab my thing.
Well, this is a great, just empty.
All right, I'm back,
noise
folks.
here.
Sorry about that. I realized my titles were on my bedside table. All right, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 left.
Okay, I'm gonna go 3.
3. Unknown persons need apply.
Unknown persons need apply. Also, if you're new to the show and you don't know what we just did, we come up with titles for each other each week. So Charlie just gave me a title, and I have to write a show about it next week.
Yes.
And that show is going to be called Unknown Persons Need Apply.
There is
I don't know
one
what the
title
fuck that's going to be, but all right.
on this list that you are 100% allowed to say no to.
Okay.
I
That
always
bad,
tell
huh?
you that I think it's a good title, but I would 100% understand why you
Is it
wouldn't want to do
vulgar?
this show. It's not vulgar. It's worse. It's a copyrighted intellectual property.
Oh, it's going to be like Beauty and the Beast Season 2.
No, it's better than that.
What happens after he becomes a human again? He turns out to be a douchebag and beats his
Yeah.
wife.
What the fuck do you think's gonna happen? He probably has like 18 wives in the second movie. It's fucking medieval times in
Yeah.
France. They don't care.
Yeah, probably not a good guy.
No, almost assuredly not a good guy. He fucking, didn't he like enslave his entire like staff as fucking brooms and shit?
Well,
I mean, I know that was a
the
witch.
witch that did that, so that wasn't really on him. I mean, they were probably paid before then, but I can't imagine he paid them after, right?
Yeah, surely they. Well, and the question is, what's a candlestick gonna use money for? Like, he doesn't need to
that's
eat
no point.
or anything.
Yeah.
What, who
They
do you
didn't
think
seem too
decided
bothered
would-
by it as well, so maybe they
Yeah,
were okay with being there. I don't know.
maybe.
They also were just kind of waiting for the spell to be broken too, so they were just as invested in the love interest as he was. Anyway, that's
do
too
wonder-
much Beauty and the Beast trivia for a episode of the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. So thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time.
See you on the flippity flop.